Schwantz made a good start, so did Keith Ewan. Keith Ewan, number 16, is there in second place. Kenny Irons, number 8, leads. And Kevin Schwantz goes through into second spot. And it'll be a brave man who winds the pair on too much. No problems this time at Redgate. Down Hollywood into Craner Curves, and Ken Irons, the 23-year-old privateer, is the man who leads at the moment, but Kevin Schwantz is lining himself up to make the charge. There in the middle of that group was Rob McElnay, the man who won. There's the leaders. Number 8, Kenny Irons, 34, Kevin Schwantz. Brent leads America, and Schwantz goes through on the inside. He doesn't hang about, he doesn't wait. And that was a really fearless move for a man who took a tumble in the opening leg.
And Ken Irons said after Schwantz had crashed in the first race that when he chased the American and the American went away, he said it was like he was in a different race altogether and surely he had to fall off.
Roger Burnett in second place. In fourth position is Chris Martin. And there, right down towards the tail end, Ron Haslam on that basically production road bike. Kenny Irons leads from Kevin Schwantz into the S's. Then it's Roger Burnett, and Kenny Irons goes through and he forces the American wide. Well, Kenny Irons, a hard bit of riding there.
Schwantz started a very unusual manoeuvre to go around the outside, and this is more usual. Up the inside goes Schwantz to take the lead on the Suzuki.
Schwantz the leader. Irons on the Yamaha in second place. Roger Burnett on the Rothmans Honda in third spot. So Kevin Schwantz, the 22-year-old Texan who led the first race and then threw it away at Redgate, is going to be the race leader at the end of this opening lap. One lap gone, and there's Fred Merkel. At all, Merkel up to fourth place now, and he's going to go round. Oh dear, 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 dear. Well, I would have thought that Fred Merkel should have known that Redgate was slippery, Peter.
Well, certainly he does now, and he slipped so far it was down on his knee pad, sliding along on just one tyre and a knee pad as we watch number 34 Schwantz in the lead.
Barry, what do you think of it so far?
Well, the way Fred Merkel's riding, I'll give him another 2 laps, I tell you, because you just can't get away with that all day. Oh, I don't believe it. Yeah, I'd say 1 lap, actually.
Well, Fred Merkel has thrown, let's say, be kind to him and say he's thrown caution to the winds. He's in third place at the moment. We saw him have that nasty slide. The Superbike champion from America, number 1, he's in third place at the moment, and he's getting that bike heeled over to not impossible angles, but brave and reckless angles considering the weather conditions. And Merkel's lining himself up for another manoeuvre here. It's Schwantz for America, Kenny Irons for Britain, then Fred Merkel, then Chris Martin, and then Roger Burnett. Then it's Robert McElnay. Then it's Reuben McMurter behind McMurter, who's Dale Quarterly for the Americans. There's John Beckcourt. And there you are, number 5, Ron Haslam, on what is really basically it had registration plates, indicators, and wing mirrors on when it came here on Thursday. The race leader, Schwantz, in front. Kenny Irons in second place. Merkel has lost a position. Fred Merkel has lost a place, and he winds up the Honda. Look at Merkel now. Oh dear, dear, dear. What are they going to do at Redgate this time? Schwantz the leader. Irons. Chris Martin. Fred Merkel very wide. Banked over. No problems this time though.
Much more circumspect from Merkel that time, but now he's round the outside of Chris Martin and then looking for the inside line, a very slippery place to try. Oh, desperately difficult stuff from Merkel, but Martin holds the advantage from number 1, the American Superbike champion.
Well, Merkel has added some spark and zest, and he just charges round the outside of Chris Martin. The question is, can he stay on if he rides like this? Merkel, he was furious at his performance in the first leg.
Obviously, Merkel is one of these leaders who believes as captain you can't ask your men to do what you're not prepared to do yourself, and he certainly is sticking his neck out in pursuit of victory. Now up into third place and closing on Ken Irons. So it's Americans in first and second position now, really reversing the position of the first race.
And Kevin Schwantz beginning to stretch an advantage slightly over the British boy Kenny Irons. Ken Irons, a Pro-Am winner, he's won the ACU 250 Production Championship, Club Championship. Rob McElnay, number 4, going through. Oh, desperate stop here between the Americans. That was Dale Quartley and Ruben McMurdo, 2 of the Americans absolutely side by side. Round of Melbourne hairpin, Merkel in 3rd place. Well, Barry Sheen was impressed with the performance of Fred Merkel, and with good reason. Here is Merkel trying so hard.
And of course, it's a mixture of machines again. It's a Suzuki leading a Yamaha and a Honda. So all 3 marks well presented at the front as 34 Schwantz leads 8 Ken Irons, and number 1 Merkel, the American team captain.
I think we lost Chris Martin from that leading quintet. And perhaps Roger Marshall will not be surprised that Chris Martin has gone down, Peter?
No, the 2 of them had a coming together in the last race. Chris Martin and Roger Marshall collided early on in the race, and Marshall said that Chris had got in a little bit out of his depth, so I wonder if he's disappeared in this second leg.
Kevin Schwantz, the race leader, and Steve Parrish has gone into the pits. Stavros finished 4th in the opening leg. And in fact, it was Chris Martin who obviously went... No, in fact, we have lost Chris Martin. Just checking on the lap charts. And there's the battle for 2nd place. Look at this. Merkel and Kenny Irons, 2 hard men. Oh, and Merkel goes through. Well, he thought that Kenny Irons was playing about, I think.
Yes, Irons just got in too deep. He braked very, very late and ran wide, letting Merkel slip through.
And we're coming to Melbourne hairpin, where the yellow flags are out because there has been an incident. And it looks as though it's Chris Martin who went down. The officials are there. And that is Chris Martin, the new member of the Skull Bandit Suzuki team. And the marshals being passed each side, and the yellow flags being waved. And the acknowledgement there from Kevin Schwantz. The white flag goes out. Well, Barry, it's been a hectic race so far.
Yeah, it has. There's a bit of confusion going on at the moment because the course car's out on the circuit with a blue light flashing. And I would say the most sensible thing to do would be to stop the race, actually, because Chris Martin has obviously hurt himself a bit. So the most logical thing to do would be to stop the race, because he's being attended in the middle of the racetrack, and people are tearing either one side and the other, and it's not a sensible thing to do to keep the race going, really.
And the white flags to indicate that the circuit doctor is on his way in the emergency vehicle round to the incident. And into the pits comes Ron Haslam. I know he wasn't happy at the tail end of the field. That's production road-going VF 750 Honda. Was quick enough, Ron thought, but he just couldn't make it go quickly around the corners.
No, it's just not wet enough for Ron to stand any chance of making use of that road-going bike.
Barry.
Yeah, it looks now as if they've stopped the race, because, as I say, the rider was in the middle of the track and the people were trying to sort of give him some help, and it was the only logical thing to do to stop the race.
And as the course cars go down, the yellow flag still being waved there, and they appear to have moved Chris Martin, so the white flag out is there for the ambulance on the circuit. I've not seen any sign of the crossed oil and yellow flag, so I presume the race is still running. Well, Barry, what do you think about the decision not to stop the race?
Well, I was a bit confused, actually, because down at Redgate here, the guy was getting ready with the cross flags, and as I turned to talk to you, it looked like he picked them up, and then I turned around again and the flags had gone down. But it looks now as if they've got Chris off of the circuit, so there's no need to stop the race now, but I would have thought it would have been a prudent thing to do to